Good afternoon, everybody. This is Mark. We're back here for the daily recap. So we're now Fed day tomorrow. Today was obviously a big gap up. We continued at the open, and then we came in a little bit at the end of the day, but you can just see we closed fine. Fed day tomorrow, so I couldn't tell you which way we're going to go. I would imagine we probably are relatively flat at the open, and then we'll have to wait and see how it plays out from there. Overall, high beta came in a little bit at the end of the day. I don't know if it's going to recover tomorrow. I don't think it looks that bad, though. I'm assuming Yellen's going to increase by 1/4 of a point, which, again, not a whole lot. But the reality is we'll have to see how, with this headwind behind us, see if that helps the market, puts a bit underneath. Technically, we're not really getting a whole lot of signals either way, even though we did just get a nice little bounce from oversold conditions. But overall, you got to be flexible, and I think that's really the key to this tape. You got to be flexible and try to find one or two opportunities in order to dig your teeth into. Amazon gapped up today early at the open and held up there most of the day, and then came in because it just got resistance and 2 big days. That's really what we were expecting. Google, much of the same. Gapped up, then came in. Another day down maybe. Facebook, much of the same. Didn't even gap up much, actually, just really held in there. So, it's one of those things that I think you just got to respect the tape. EXPE actually had a nice day, followed through. And I saw it in the AM, and I was talking about it the other day. I personally did not chase it. And, again, it was one of those stocks that you had to pretty much get in early, and then it slowly ended up grinding higher throughout the day. Looks great on the chart, but the entry level was, probably $5 lower at this point in time. Priceline, another stock obviously in that category that worked itself out of a small base, coming to a little resistance right here, but overall this thing looks like it could work itself higher. If we do get a Santa Claus rally, I would assume this probably goes another $100 based on how this stock trades accordingly. Banks actually had a day today. You had Goldman Sachs, doing decent, recovering from a nice sell-off. Citigroup, JP Morgan. Overall, there's really nothing technical to talk about that besides just an oversold bounce, which they did pretty nicely. And again, into the Fed, we'll have to wait and see how these things play. You had a few exceptions, stock-wise. VRX in the AM I mentioned, it actually went through the price roughly 100 in the AM and then just kept up there. And then, most of this action was done pre-market, so there really wasn't a whole lot to do intraday. But that's how sometimes these stocks trade. So it looks good. It looks like it, on dips might be viable at this point in time. ICPT, another one that had some nice follow through. And the IBB in general, had some nice follow through. We're now getting to that resistance point that we seem to always get, and it seems to get stuck there. So going into Fed, we'll have to really wait and see. I think that's going to be the key tomorrow. Wait and see in the AM. I don't think you're going to have to put a lot on. And let's see how these things play out. I'm not convinced either way that we're going to scream or we're going to crash. There might be a little bit of fake moves in there also along the way after the Fed meeting, as long as she doesn't surprise. If she surprises and doesn't do anything, I would assume the market gets hit. But I don't think she's going to do that based on what she has said, and that she's trying to get in front of the rhetoric overall. She's been trying to be pretty transparent. So overall, guys, we got to wait for the Fed. It's been a decent 2-day rally, 2-day bounce across the board. But a lot of it was overnight last night. There wasn't a lot of opportunity to really work your way into a lot of positions today. But that's how the market works sometimes. You got to respect it. The spiders went from 200 to midday yesterday to 206 at one point today, 208 almost. What was it, 208? No, 206.40. So it is what it is, and we will be here tomorrow, and tomorrow should be a wild day. So hopefully you were able to capitalize a little bit today, keep your ammunition dry for tomorrow, and we will go from there. Have a good night.